Excuse me. I'm sorry, my video just got interrupted. Faith is not based off of what we feel. It's not based off of what we see. Every day, I struggle with being an emotional wreck. I struggle with wanting to throw in the towel daily in what God has called me to. Because my flesh says, God, I don't like the way this feels. God, I'm angry. God, I don't like it. God, did you see what they did to me? God, did you see what they said to me? God, did you see how they left me hanging? Let me tell y'all something. Every day I have to deal with the fact that, and I know a lot of people, this is just real life. I have to look and talk and deal with in the face of people who have hurt me to the uttermost. When I know I've been good to them. But all the more that pushed me closer to God. So I can appreciate the experience because of who God made me to be. And I'm not ashamed anymore. You know, you see some people, and I've had people who go to church every Sunday try to discredit my salvation because I don't go to church anymore. I've had people look down on me because I chose to do what God called me to do and have my children. I'm gonna go as far as to talk about my experience from young. Why I am the way I am, because God has been so good to me. I did not know that I was called to be a mother. And when I got with my husband, my children's father, and I started to get pregnant, abortions were free in New York City where I lived. I was 16 when I had my first abortion. And I didn't know what I was doing. All I know was I was having sex. My mother didn't know. We weren't using protection. And I went and got rid of the baby. Did it one time. Didn't have, let me show you how God will cover you. Like, understand, when you have a testimony, don't run from it. It might be hard. Life is hard. It can be hard, yes. But when you have God with you, it's that much more easier. I was in the 10th grade, 10th or 11th grade, when I had my first abortion. It was so easy. I just walked in. I signed the papers, had no parent with me. I was with a friend. She was also pregnant, had an abortion. Was nothing. Woke up, gave her some tea and crackers, went on with my day. And continued to have sex with no protection, and got pregnant again. And it happened again and again and again and again. Okay? And each and every time, God allowed me to come through that unharmed, not messed up. I was young. My mother never knew about it. I never went to her and told her. Well, let me tell you something. Every day I look at that. God allowed me. I'm going to tell you, my last abortion was, I think I was, I'm going to say I was like 24 or 25. It was the worst experience ever. I went to the abortion clinic, and the person that the doctor that had did it was just like so mean and so harsh, and just, it was like he was ripping my insides out of me. And I was saying to him, you know, I was already nervous, and I was saying to him, am I going to feel anything? Blah, 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 you know, just asking a whole bunch of questions. And he was just very mean. He was cold. Excuse me. He was very cold. And I never forget, after I got off the table, I kept vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. And I sat there and I said, God, I will never do this again. By that time, I had already had 3 children. Okay? And I said, God, I will never do it again. Let me tell you something about people and pleasing people and where it will get you in trouble. It will get you in trouble because when you take what people think of you over what God thinks of you, see, that's the trick of the enemy. He will use your parents. He will use friends. He will use family members, whoever's closest to you, to try to break you down. Because he knows when you love a person and you look up to a person, right, that whatever they say about you, you so concerned about that, you start trying to please them, and you forget that God is saying, hey, listen, I love you. I'm here for you. Because the Bible even says, even when your mother and father forsake you, the Lord will take you up. He'll be there for you. When all else fails, when everything and everybody turns their back on you, God is who's there. He's standing there. He's been there. He's been by your side. He's promised to never leave you or forsake you. But it takes a personal relationship with God to understand that. God has truly blessed me because he allowed me to have 7 kids after all those abortions, after everything I went through, being naive and not knowing. God gave me chance after chance because you know what he said? When the enemy was trying to take me out in my mess, he said, that's my child. And meanwhile, the enemy's saying to God, look at her. She's doing it again. She's doing it again. She's doing it again. Let me take her out, Lord. Let me take her. He said, no, because that's my child. I created her. Watch her. She's going to be everything that I died for her to be. And let me tell you something. God is not a man that he should lie. He's never failed me. These kids are here. They're healthy, and even though it's a struggle every day, I wouldn't give it back for nothing. I don't get breaks. There's times where I just want to be like, I want to walk away. Because sometimes I feel so drained, sometimes I feel so tired. But understand, the persecution is great because the enemy hates life. He's all about death because what God has for us, he will never get. So he's going to make the trials. That's why I am the way I am about my children. Even though I know my children belong to God first, there's nobody in this earth that I would allow to hurt my children. My son, he's 18. He has his ways, but we all had our ways. But people don't see that when they don't have grace. The only way you don't have grace is if you don't receive it because it's there waiting for you. Grace is unmerited favor. Do your research. Instead of searching on how to make your wife sexually aroused all the time, do some spiritual searching. Instead of us women walking around here seeing how we can be sexy for our men. Listen, beauty is fleeting. All that is fleeting, honey. The titties gonna sag, that butt gonna sag, your back gonna crouch. At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about spiritual things, kingdom things. I'm grateful because when I look around me, I know my life could be so much worse. When I see how the people or the person who I thought would be there for me, one of the very people who I tried to form my life in such a way and do things to make them proud. And they showed me, regardless, they didn't have my back. I'm so glad for my relationship with God. I don't care about nothing else with anybody else, because you know what? In order to deal with this child of God, you got to see God. You ain't never going to understand me. I don't care who you are. Mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle. You're not going to understand this. You're not going to understand this because I am God's child. This is a new situation for me. This is a new walk of life. This is I have a purpose. And my purpose is to be the mouthpiece. That what I go through to share, to give somebody some light and some life into who God is and who he's been to them. If you don't see it now, you'll see it eventually. Because the love of God is real. It is unfailing. It is unconditional. Man cannot give us a touch of what God can give us. Okay? So when somebody says they love you, it's not genuine if it does not come from the heart of God. Understand, people can say that they love you, but if they don't have the heart of God, that love ain't going to be unconditional. That love ain't going to be 100%. So when they mess up and when they do things to hurt you and when they disrespect you, because see, a lot of people's love is based off of works. How you know, if you're always nice to them and always do everything they tell you to do and they want you to understand their down days and they don't understand yours. Listen, that's man. Man has a fallen nature. Okay? That they carry on them. The fallen nature from the Garden of Eden. They have a fallen nature that they carry on them. And until they receive the redemptive love. Because see, we're no longer under the law. We're no longer under works. So at the end of the day, until they receive that redemptive love of God, you can't make people love you. You can't make people respect you. You can't make anybody do anything. You work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, and you focus on God. Because see, that's where the answers are. The answer's not on Google. The answers is in the Word of God. Spending time with God. If you don't spend time with God, I'm not talking about no little 2-second prayer. Don't you know the enemy is fighting you every minute, every second of the day in your mind? And when you sit down and take those thoughts as your own, he is winning the battle. When your family turns against you, when people turn against you, or when people just don't want to be around you, you have to ask yourself, God, is it something I'll do? Because listen, we got to take responsibility. We got to stop thinking that we could walk around here with this spirit and it'd be okay with everybody else. You know, there is an order. And that order has to be followed. Because if your wife or if your husband, see, this is how it is. Because it's supposed to be God, the husband, the wife, over the children. And God has set that order for a reason. And if the wife respects the husband because he respects God, that's how that goes. See, the order. So you seek God about the order. And you say, okay, God, how am I supposed to do this? Because I don't understand. Because God, I don't understand that man. You got to show me. Okay? Because you created him. Hello? He created you. He sent us here. You got to seek the creator about his creation. Google didn't create me. Okay? These porn sites and all this stuff did not make me. See, because here, listen, this is a whole nother story. But men gotta understand, they got to reach deeper than them parts, them body parts. Because see, God has made us in such a way that it's bigger than that. Because lust don't help nothing. It don't make no situation better. And if you keep going to that, when you know you ain't working on the other stuff, that actually can make a situation worse. And see, that's what we have to understand. The flesh profits nothing. An orgasm profits nothing. It's the things that we sow into the spirit that matter and that last. It's the spiritual things that are eternal. And people don't want to see that no more because we live in a microwave society. Let me fix this real quick with this. Let me take you shopping and fix it. Let me throw you some dollars and fix that situation. Let me do this and fix that situation. And no, because it don't last. Because that person is still left hurt. That person is still left empty. That's why if you don't have a personal relationship, God, you'll always seek things. You'll always try to cover up your pain with things. You'll always try to cover up your pain with drugs. You'll always try to cover up your pain with the next new thing. You'll always try to cover up your pain by being somebody else on the internet that you're not. Let's keep it 100. Everybody, listen. If you don't know who God is in these last days, you're in trouble. You're headed for destruction by choice. Self-destruction by choice. Because none of us are perfect and the enemy ain't going to leave us alone. But here's what we have to do. Push through. Persevere. Pray. Seek God. A family that prays together stays together. Not a family that curses each other out, fights, throws words at each other, and says things that they regret. Not a family that curses at their kids and tells their kids what they're not and looks down on their kids like they ain't never done nothing in their life. Nah, that don't last. Because that same grace that you looking for. Because baby, when you mess up, that's when you go to God. But don't let somebody else do something to you. And then you want to be all touchy and mad because your ego. See, we got to wake up. Because attached to that ego is pride. And let me tell you something. I know the God that I serve. You're not going to keep playing with him, see? Because to whom much is given, much is required. And the order of the prophet is to let you know. See, and a lot of people, listen, when you come speaking what God speaks, and I'm very careful with this because I don't want to say I'm not secure in it, but I know that when you're called to speak a word from the Lord, you get attacked. The enemy will use whoever but here's what God is speaking. To whom much is given, much is required. He's not going to allow you to constantly go and do what you do, thinking, well, God will forgive me. God, yeah, he'll forgive you, but he'll also get tired and say, okay, you know what you're doing. So that means that you want the repercussions of what comes with what you're doing that you know you're not supposed to be doing. That's what you're saying. By doing what you're doing constantly, when you know that what you're doing is wrong and God has brought you through it. That's what happened with me with those abortions. With that last one. And I felt like my insides was being ripped out. The Holy Spirit said, oh, is this what you want? Because next time, you might not make it through this. Think about the mercy and the grace of God on your life and where he's brought you from. If you choose to stay where you are, you headed for destruction. And you can't blame nobody but yourself. Because you know the devil. You know the devil's real. We all know he's real. But when you give him authority over your life by walking with him, you're inviting him to destroy everything that you put your hand to. And trust and believe, when God has his hand on somebody's life, God will say, I'll remove you because I won't allow you to destroy them. If he says, I won't allow Satan to destroy them, because he's marked them, he'll take you out of the equation. That's why we have to be so careful. People don't understand. You can't play with God. I'm not here to play with him. I know I'm not perfect. That's why I stay repentant. But the love that God has placed on your life and that you've experienced charges you it just puts it, you just want to do a 360 and say, I'm not going to do that. God has been too good to me. But I'm going to end this video, guys. I'm just doing what my Father has placed on my life, and I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just here to give my testimony. And I thank him for that. Until then, you guys have a blessed night.